test.
Whatever. Strike that reverse. It's been a long day.
Natasha. Hi. Thanks for being here. Anytime. All right. Okay. Bob's here. Everybody's here. All right. Okay. I think we're ready to start. Are you ready? Okay. I'm going to call the call to order the open session for our board meeting October 29th at 5:01. Tonight we're going to have Trustee Ruthie Henschett go ahead and lead us in the pledge.
So if you would all stand and put your hand over your heart and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we're going to move on. And we are going to, we'll start out with, do we have any public comments this evening?
No public comments.
No public comments? Anyone have any public comments? If you do, we have the little slips over there. You could fill them out and give them to Anna. Just making sure no one has any. Okay, no public comments, then we won't. Okay, we're going to move on to action item. Do we need to approve our agenda? I don't have that in my, so do I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the agenda as it is.
Yeah.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve our agenda for this evening. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, now we're gonna move on to our action items. So we do have a vacancy on our board of trustees, and the person that was serving as our clerk, our board clerk, is the person that actually resigned. And so we do need to appoint a clerk to ensure the continuation of board operations and support. This person actually has to sign things and to make sure that we are doing things legitimately. The appointed clerk will serve for the remainder of this term. So do I have a motion for the appointment of our board clerk?
I nominate Vanessa to be our clerk.
Right? It's been moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for Vanessa to be our clerk for the duration of this term. Vanessa, do you accept that nomination?
I do.
You got your signature finger ready? Okay. Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Great. You are now the signer. Okay. We're going to now move on to our next piece here. Now, and bear with us, you guys. This is the first time we've done a trustee appointment. And I've been on the board for a bit, and this is the first time I've ever done one of these as well. So it's all new to all of us. So I'll go ahead and start. So due to the resignation of Trustee Aruni Takura, the Fullerton School District has an opening for a new trustee for Area 1 to serve the remainder of the current term of office. At the September board meeting, the board voted to appoint a provisional trustee due to the high cost of a special election. This opening was advertised to the public through social media, print media, and the FSD website from September to October 17th, when applications were due to our district office. This provisional appointee will serve the remainder of the term, which is it'll be from this evening, October 29th, through our December 9th meeting. This appointee has the right to file and run for this area as it becomes open at the next regularly scheduled election in 2026.
December 9th, 2026.
Yes. Thank you. The board now has 5 candidates who have applied and agreed to go through the process to be considered for the appointment for Trustee Area 1 vacancy. The board developed questions and an interview process at our October 14th, 2025 board meeting. Does any board member have any questions or comments before we begin this process? I do know that we had developed 8 questions, agreed on those. Once we figured out we had a few more candidates, we thought maybe 8 was a little too many. And so I think this is up for discussion now. So what I would like to do is entertain some conversation on do we reduce the number of questions from our original 8? And if we do, which ones should we consider keeping and how many should we do? Keeping in mind that every candidate has 2 minutes to answer each question. So keeping that in mind, understanding we have 5 candidates, we want to be very mindful and not be here until tomorrow. So although that would give them a good understanding of what this really is.
Yeah. One question I have is, it appears at this moment we have 4 candidates who have showed up for the interviews. We assume we're moving forward with 5?
One of our candidates mentioned that they may be late,
Okay,
but we will continue on.
okay, and hope to include them. Okay.
So do I have, what I'm looking for is somebody to kind of put out there how many questions you feel are necessary for this process. And then once we do that, we'll decide which one. So does anyone have any opinions?
Sure,
Yes.
if I may. So I think number 8 is good closing question.
Mhm.
Should definitely be included. And I think
Yeah.
there are 4 trustees here, 4 questions in addition to that. So 5 questions would be a happy compromise between 8 and much fewer. So my recommendation would be 5, and that we all choose 1 question, repeat it every single time, no deviations, no follow-ups, and then also include number 8 as a
That's
closing.
the last one.
I had also written down, I think 5 questions is appropriate. That means about 15 minutes per applicant, assuming each question takes more like 3 minutes for us to ask and response. So that's an hour and 40 minutes total. Even with a little bit extra, that's about 2 hours. I think that feels right with 5 candidates. So I would suggest there was a lot of agreement around 2 and 3. I would add 1. I think 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then I personally think 7 and 4 are similar. I would choose 7 and then 8.
That's more than that 4.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and
That's
7.
5 total.
7 and 8.
Okay, 7 and 8. All right. I have them numbered separately. So core values is number 3. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is number 2. Yes.
Mhm.
Number 4 is 8. Okay. Okay. Anybody have any other opinions on that?
No, I'd support that.
Yeah, so do I. I know 2 and 3 were 2 that we all supported.
So we will be
So I'm okay with those.
okay. So we will be asking questions 1, 2,
3.
3, 7, and then 8 would be our last one.
Yes.
Sorry, you guys probably don't even know what we're talking about. Okay, so then let's assign. I will do 8 just to be the end. I could start it and end it.
Mhm.
So I'll do 1 and 8.
Mhm.
Anybody wants number 2?
I could do 2.
Okay. Core values, who's 3?
I'll take that one.
And then James, number 7. All right. Okay. Do we need a vote on that? Should we vote?
Anna's saying yes.
Okay. So I need a motion
I'll look at the lawyer.
to approve, to revise our interview questions to now be questions number 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8 for this evening.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right, perfect. All right, so we got that formality done. Let me go back to my, right. Now, to begin this evening, we will need to select the order in which candidates will be interviewed. The candidate interview order will be selected by random drawing. Anna, can you please draw the names to determine the candidates for us? So Anna's got everybody's name in a bowl, along with the Halloween candy. Oh, we should. Jeremy, you should have done the.
That's what I thought you were going to.
We are not fans.
First candidate is going to be Mr. Jason Phillips.
Okay. Jason Phillips is number 1. Okay.
Second candidate is going to be Mr. Joseph Samayo.
Okay. Joseph. It is in the same order so far, yeah.
It's totally random because number 3 is Mr. Miguel Alvarez.
Is it really?
Totally.
I never have this kind of luck.
Is it really, Miguel?
Bye.
We know who won't be at work on Monday,
Mr. Philip Gwynn.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the last is going to be Miss Suzanne Garcia.
Okay.
Number 5.
All right.
I need to leave.
Okay, that is hysterical. Okay, now I'm going to describe the process that we're going to follow.
Was number 4.
Okay, this is the process that the board will use to interview and select our new appointee for trustee area 1 vacancy. Each candidate will be asked the same questions, and as you guys heard, it's going to be 5 questions total. The board members will take turns, as you could see, asking the questions, and the same question will be asked to each board member will ask the same question to the candidates, and there will be no follow-up questions or clarifications. So it's the question and just the question, and then we move on. After a board member reads the question, each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. An orange piece of paper will be held up by Dr. Hammett when you have 10 seconds remaining. A timer will go off after 2 minutes, and we ask that each candidate stop if they have not completed their answer so the board can move on to the next question. When each candidate completes the interview process, the board will take 3 to 5 minutes to finalize their notes before moving to the next candidate. Candidates will be asked to remain outside of the boardroom in an area that we have provided for you while the other candidates are being interviewed. We ask the candidates to avoid using their electronic devices for the entirety of the interview process to ensure that all candidates have the same information prior to their interview. Once all interviews are complete, all candidates will return to the boardroom. The board may hold discussion regarding the candidates, their responses to the interview questions, and their submitted applications. A board member may make a motion to appoint a candidate. If a substitute motion is made for a different candidate, the board will deliberate and vote on the substitute candidate first, or the substitute motion first, and then the original motion if needed. A majority vote is required for the appointment. So basically what this says is that we have a very comfortable room. We'll have all of our candidates hang out in there. We'll bring you out in order of which we're pulled. Once one candidate finishes their interview, they'll go back in, we'll bring out the next candidate, and we'll go through the whole process, and then everyone will come out, and then we'll go forward with the rest of the process. Right? My trustees okay with that? Everybody's good? Did I cover everything at the table over there? We're good? Okay, okay. Then for that, we'll go ahead and ask our staff to accompany our candidates to the green room. Is it the green room, orange room? All right, you guys.
Are we ready?
Sure, yeah. I think as long as we're ready and we don't need to say anything. Okay. For my board members, we've got our forced ranking sheet to help us if you guys need it. You guys have applications for each person, right? We have our applications out. We know what we're doing. Right. Okay. Are y'all ready? Yes. Thumbs up. Vanessa, you ready? Okay. Jason, welcome. We're glad to have you. Thank you for coming and thank you for caring to serve. So I'll start. Our first question for you today is, what do you see as the strengths of our Fullerton School District? And what would you see as our biggest challenges or areas of improvement? What are your ideas to address our challenges? So we'll give you 2 minutes. No. Once you push it, it turns green.
Oh, there it is. No worries. Yeah. Why not?
That's right. Technical difficulties. What would you see as the strengths of the Fullerton School District, and what do you see as our biggest challenges or areas for improvement? What are your ideas to address our challenges?
I think the strengths are easy to say, and that would be our students, our teachers, and our families. I always think that they're our greatest assets, as well as the surrounding communities. I would say the struggles are there's still struggle with learning, especially after the pandemic. I think there's some inequity issues in some of the schools, as far as available resources, but I think some of those can be solved with partnerships in the communities, working with nonprofits, businesses, and the already existing community that wants to see the thriving of their school. Elementary schools, I think, are an interesting part of our city because that's where I think most of the community is gathered and developed around. That's where relationships really start to bond with families and in the community with kids. And so using that resource of the community that's already there.
Question number 2. What qualities and qualifications do you think are most important in selecting a new superintendent to lead our school district?
I think any good leadership starts with listening. And so someone who listens to, again, the students, the teachers, they're best equipped to decide what the strengths are and what barriers and problems they're facing. And listen to the community and listen to, especially if it's someone from outside Fullerton, there's, a rich depth of resources of people who love this city and want to see the community thrive. And so I would say that singular is listening, and then discernment, right? How do I take what I hear, what resources I have, and discern what are the next best steps to take? I feel like if anyone comes in with a set plan, this is what works, this is what we're going to do, that would be a little problematic for me, as opposed to someone who's not listening to hear what's already happening. What good is already here, not what needs to be fixed. There's a lot of good.
Thank you.
There it goes. What are your top 2 or 3 core values? And how would you make decisions when it feels like those may be in conflict, especially between local, state, or federal government policies and guiding our schools?
Wow. I value others. And so, and when I mean others, I mean everyone, but also those who often go unseen and unheard. And I would also say, again, a core value of mine is listen first. and discernment. And I think really easily just kindness and just a genuine love for others. I would think that, well, I'll just share. I serve on our COC board, our county COC board, and we just had a really tough decision to make. We had spent a lot of time on DEI, really changing our policies and really the makeup of our board, which is very diverse. We still don't know what HUD's going to do with funding, but we did receive a memo, and so we made some changes with our policies and procedures, and the core values remained, but the wording had to change. And that was a tough decision and a tough discussion, but listening to the people who it most affects. We have, again, like a very diverse board. And so as they were willing to sacrifice, knowing again the makeup of the board that will hopefully remain in the next 3 years, that those values that we were implementing in our policy procedures would remain. So deep trust.
Please identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff consideration, and your own personal beliefs to determine how to vote on that issue.
Identify a recent this board decision. Yeah, I don't know any. You get the final one?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Better be
Coming in
nice.
for the kill. All right. This is your opportunity to speak on your strengths, experiences, and insights you would bring to this board to make us better. And if there's anything else that you'd like to share with us about yourself in your closing comments.
Well, the reason I applied for this is I do care very deeply about our city and about our schools. And I just wanted you to have a pool of people to choose from. And so I have no strong stake in being a board member. I trust you guys to pick the right person. I think what I bring though is an understanding and history of Fullerton, of schools. My wife has taught here for over 30 years. Our kids have gone to school here, have partnered with schools over the years, especially doing our Soulful program. But again, I think listening, discernment, I do think, and that's one of the reasons why I applied as you look for a new superintendent. I think that that's one of the better strengths I bring of listening, discernment, and again, trusting all the voices that are around. My final thing is, no one said how nice I dressed. I don't normally dress this way. You noticed.
It's not on my script. We can't go off script tonight. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for being our first person out here. Right. So now our board, we're going to give ourselves 2 or 3 minutes up to 5 minutes to gather our thoughts and get our notes there, and then we'll move on. We'll get you all ready. Is it Joseph or Joey?
Whatever you'd like.
Okay, I'll just go with Joseph for now. So welcome, Joseph. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
As you know, we'll go through our interview questions, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak on each one of the answers. So I'll go ahead and I'll start with your first question. What do you see as the strengths of the Fullerton School District, and what do you see as our biggest challenges or areas for improvement? What are your ideas to address those challenges?
I believe that one of Fullerton's biggest strengths is its diversity, not only culturally, but also in the programs that it offers academically. When my wife and I were looking for our first home, we were looking at Fullerton, and one of the things we looked at was the schools in our area, the homes we were looking at. And although the home school didn't score as high as we would have hoped, we eventually found this program, the multi-age program at Orange Thorpe. And as soon as we read about it and learned about it, we said, this is it. This is for our kids. This is where we want to put them. And having programs like that, the dual language immersion, all the IEP help, everything that Fullerton does for its students really is a strength. The biggest issue or challenge that I see is the rate of declining attendance and the lack of funding that comes with it. I think that a lot of that comes from of the people that I've talked to, friends of mine that don't send their kids to public schools. Their biggest issue is trust. They don't trust the public education system. One of our friends doesn't trust that the district that she's in can provide a classroom that gives her son the special help that he needs, and so she chose to homeschool. I think to fix that, we need to rebuild that trust and show that the district and that our schools can help the students in the way that we're already doing it. Just doing more for them, and excuse me. And show that the district and the schools are a partner to those families, not just a school, a place to send your kids. I believe that Fullerton can be the shining example of what public education should be, and I believe in many ways it already is. I think we just need to get that out to the public.
Question number 2. What qualities and qualifications do you think are most important in selecting a new superintendent to lead our school district?
I believe first and foremost, a superintendent should be experienced in education, preferably in administration as well as in the classroom. I believe that that person should be a visionary, yet also grounded in the values. Some of those values being excellence and innovation. I believe they should be collaborative with not only the families, but with administrators and staff, teachers as well. Communicative and transparent, and also visible in the schools. Showing up, showing that they do believe in putting the students and the students first. I also hope that that person would also support the creative and alternative engaging programs that we have in Fullerton that make it so special and unique. And keep up with the culture that we've already started.
Joey, could you tell us your top 2 or 3 core values that you hold as a person, and how would you make decisions when it feels like those may be in conflict with local, state, or federal government policies and guidance for our schools?
In regards to the district or our schools, I believe putting students first over politics. Obviously, there's mandates that we have to follow, but thinking about putting the students over the politics and really balance the compliance and the compassion and empathy for our students.
Please identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff consideration, and your own personal beliefs to determine how to vote on the issue.
So before jumping into this process, I never thought I would be here today. I never thought of joining a school board or district. And so my bubble is very small. Since going through the process, I've gone back and watched older meetings and try to find my way through there. And through watching these meetings, I have learned some of the intricacies involved of what this board does. And a lot of the times it's approving invoices or contracts for different companies to build playgrounds. But there was one topic that came to mind that I've heard, which is the shutdown of the LTL program at Rolling Hills. And in my understanding, that program, the school year had already started. Their attendance was down, and so it was shut down due to funding. Parents are obviously upset about that and made their voices heard here in this boardroom, which then turned to giving them the ability to raise their numbers and open up the program again. And I believe that they actually fell a little bit short, but they got to keep the program open anyways. And to me, that showed real compassion. And I feel really strongly about that because it shows that the board or that the district wants to really put these students first, and they really do care about these programs that we have in this district.
All right, this is the last one. This is your opportunity to speak on your strengths, experiences, and insights you would bring to the board to make us better. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us about yourself in your closing comments?
First and foremost, the strength that I bring is my involvement in the schools. Right now, I volunteer at my son's school, Orange Thorpe Elementary, both in the program and the school in general. And with that, I get to see the firsthand impact of these decisions and of what we do, what happens in this room and in the district, in the classroom itself. Personally, I look at myself as a problem solver. And so I bring that strength as well. I own my own business, so I've learned to manage budgets, manage planning, timeframes, things like that. But most of all, I solve problems and do so in a compassionate way where I look at both sides of the coin, make sure that everybody, as much as possible, is taken care of, not just one side or the other. And I'm here today because I've been called to serve. I was never seeking out this position, but people close to me have come to me and said, I think you'd be really good at this. And I couldn't find a reason to say no. And through this process, I really feel strongly giving back to the community of Fullerton that we love so much, and that it's given so much to us that we want to give back, or I want to give back and do what I can for the students of the district.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right. I think that's done with our questions. You can go back to your holding room.
Awesome.
All right. My trustees have more time of up to 5 minutes to gather your thoughts. Ready, you guys? Yes, we're ready. Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Got in your little chair there. Okay. So welcome and thank you again for applying and coming and joining us and spending some time with us. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first question. What do you see as the strengths of the Fullerton School District, and what do you see as our biggest challenges or areas for improvement? What are your ideas to address these challenges?
Fullerton School District is a top 20% district in California. Being a byproduct of this district and having gone to school here, this is a district that brings high quality education for all. And the opportunities for the district, we are an Apple awardee, we have a lot of designations, but there is a way that we can think through how we create equitable access across all of our LEAs. How do we ensure that we are supporting families in communities that are disproportionately impacted economically, parents who are working, who are struggling to put food on the table and need to be involved? There's a disparity between oftentimes North and South Fullerton in our community, and ensuring that we are having the right representation and partnerships that are going to be able to allow for families and their students to have that same access. I myself went from Maple, Richmond, and to Laguna Road, and there was a huge disparity even back then in the 90s. And being able to see that and also look at what is happening in our other school sites around reading, mathematics, technology access, parent access, bringing those opportunities to those school sites and being very intentional in the inclusive design for our communities that need us the most. The other is around teacher burnout, classified burnout, and ensuring that at those school sites where they do have a lot of strain, that they get the support that they need, that they get mental health support, that we are thinking about staffing and allocating resources in an equitable manner based on what is needed at the LEAs and looking at the LCAP and looking at the data that is needed to be able to ensure a whole ecosystem from staff to our certificated professionals and retention of our students, and ensuring that our families have quality support.
What qualities and qualifications do you think are most important in selecting a new superintendent to lead our school district?
The qualities that are needed for a superintendent is having the ability to lead complex budgets, having the ability to lead and understanding data-informed decision-making as it relates to our educational programs, understanding how to disaggregate data and look at opportunities to increase mathematics attainment, grade level attainment, English attainment, how we think about ELL reclassification, how we also hire the right staff and offices to ensure that we are implementing the strategic plan of the district. And having had the experience of being in a district that is that has multiple different backgrounds, ethnicities, and educational levels. So having an exposure to that is also very important because we are a district that values diversity, equity, and inclusion, and ensuring that those principles are in their background as well. You can have a superintendent who is analytical and has the right degree, a doctoral program, or having led at a district, but being able to do that with equity and design and being able to actually be out in the community and partner with community members is very important, and having that reflective throughout their process. The other aspect is their tenure at their previous districts. What have people How have they been evaluated? You know, the board evaluates superintendents, so that is public information as well, to be able to see how districts perceived that previous administrator, even if they were in a superintendent role or in a associate superintendent role. So that's some of the things that I would say is important in evaluating a superintendent. And
Next question. Tell us, Miguel, what are your top 2 or 3 core values? And how would you make decisions when it feels like those may be in conflict with perhaps the state, local, or federal government policies and the guidance they provide for our schools?
I love that question. One of my core values is innovation, which can sometimes be in conflict with policy at times when you want to move ahead, when you want to be able to bring new systems, new processes, and innovate with technology, but there are policies and restriction and budgets to be able to do so. So definitely one of my core values is innovation. The other is collaboration and inclusiveness. Those are the 3 that speak to who I am as a professional and how I lead. To know, I would say the innovation part came from probably being here at the district and having access to an Apple computer in elementary school. Never had that opportunity. And so the second part of your question about what do you do when it's kind of in conflict, you have to really understand why these policies are in place. How can you influence and take in all of the data points from your community, from the district staff, from legacy of our policy, board policy, and administrative procedures, to then look at this in the long term. What can you influence in terms of those values? Collaboration can look differently. I can work with members of all across the different bodies and across different values. And so that would all, you know, it might be in conflict. I might have a disagreement with James or with Trustee Berryman or yourself, but can I collaborate with you? Can I work with you? That is core to my value system. Can we innovate? Can we look at processes? Can we change things? Maybe it's incremental. Maybe we're changing a board goal. Maybe we're changing a board policy. That can be innovative. Maybe we're bringing new programming to the district and we're doing that through the superintendent. The hiring of a superintendent is also looking at innovation and how do I have my influence on that? So all of that together culminated.
Please identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff consideration, and your own personal beliefs to determine how to vote on the issue.
Can you repeat the question?
Please identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff consideration, and your own personal beliefs to determine how to vote on the issue.
This school district recently adopted a community workforce agreement. It was the first for the district to do so. I think that that was a wonderful decision to be able to think through how we can leverage bond money that the community is paying taxes for, and really weighing out all of the different sides of do we go into a community workforce agreement? And so I feel very strongly that it was a great decision that our board went in that direction. And so with that, you know, in terms of how I would look at decisions and thinking through policy, really looking at our community stakeholders and doing our due diligence and research and having special board meetings to actually gather all of the insight needed to make these decisions is really important to drive that. And then how does that relate to the taxpayer, right? The financial piece and economics of it, and how will it impact our taxpayer? And then weighing that, and then the community buy-in as well, and then how that is implemented in the district at the superintendent level with board policy and administrative procedures. And that's kind of how I would look at the decision-making process, and also taking into account federal, state, and local laws as it relates to an intended policy or a decision that we make on the board.
Thank you. So our last question for this evening is, This is your opportunity to speak on your strengths, experiences, and insights that you will bring to the board to make us better. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us about yourself in your closing comments?
Thank you. I am an educator myself. I'm an executive director of workforce and economic development at Long Beach City College and an alumnus of this district. The culmination of educators who influenced my life, Debbie Rhodes, Randa Schmaufeld, um, Andy Montoya, and Kristen Montoya, all had a major part in shaping my destiny to going to UCLA, being the first in my family to graduate from college, and being the first in my family to be a homeowner in Orange County. Was unprecedented for people in my community and where I came from. And those experiences and those lived experiences, as well as my professional one, will be a strategic asset to the board. I can hit the ground running on day one. I have been on shared governance committees. I have selected chancellors of community colleges and know how to evaluate for the hiring of a superintendent. So that I know is going to be one of the biggest charges of this seat, is being able to add that value, and also being a collaborator of the community. And who else would be better to serve on a board than one of Fullerton's own homegrown leader, to be able to share these experiences and know where to connect with our families, find the groups that need us the most, and be their champion on this board. So I would say that is what I would bring: the passion, the love for the district, the love for the educators, for the classified staff, and for the parents and families who all come to this district to make it one of the one of the brightest in California, and to continue that legacy is something that I would continue to bring forward.
Thank you so much. We're done with our questions, so you can go back to our room in there, have some snacks.
All right, thank you.
All right, up to 5 minutes for our board. Be careful, it does have wheels, so you can wheel around. All right, welcome, Philip. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you applying and wanting to serve. So we'll go ahead and we're going to all ask you a question. So I will go ahead and I'll start with our questions. Okay, so what do you see as the strengths of our Fullerton School District, and what do you see as our biggest challenges or areas for improvement? And what are your ideas to address those challenges?
I think our biggest strength is the community and the teachers and working together. I think that the students lost my train of thought, sorry. The students are stronger with the community at the schools and working with the teachers, parents working together. I think the biggest challenge is trying to make sure that people can still work together. This climate that we're in right now, a lot of people are diverse, and we need to make sure that we all work together to really focus on the kids, to make sure that our students get the education that they need. Yeah.
Question number 2.
Yeah.
What qualities and qualifications do you think are the most important in selecting a new superintendent to lead our school district?
Well, obviously, the qualities would be big on education. Obviously, doctorate preference, a lot of experience in administration. I think that working with students and with teachers, it's important, and working with the board to get the ideas that we need and the information that as the board would give to administer the policies. I think that someone who is fair but tough, someone who can balance both the administrative side and the board side and the public as a whole.
Philip, what are your top 2 or 3 core values? And how do you make decisions when it feels like those may be in conflict or even in conflict with the local, state, or federal government policies and guidance for our schools?
I work for a school district in Los Angeles County, and so we have same rules and regulations that you have to abide by. My experience working in the government or with the government, the rules are the rules. And my core value is that, it's the law. It's what needs to be done. And regardless if we agree with it or not, we have to implement whatever needs to be implemented. My Christian faith helps me with those decisions at those times. Excuse me, the top 3 core values, I guess, would be my Christian faith, integrity, and honesty.
Please identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff consideration, and your own personal beliefs to determine how to vote on the issue.
I don't have a particular decision that was made. There was an incident last year, or a policy that was handed down by the state that the district had to implement. I didn't agree with that particular decision. You as a district and as a board, your hands were tied. You had to follow that state law. I think the communication on that issue could have come down a little bit better from the district rather than at the school level. I had a lot of parents come to me and talk to me about that particular issue and what do we do. I encourage people to come to the board meetings and express their opinions. There's public comment, come to the board meeting. I think that the district and as a whole could have communicated that a little bit better with the understanding that your hands were tied. You had to follow California law and implement what they've commanded you to implement.
All right, thank you. Okay, here's your last question. Right. This is your opportunity to speak on strengths, experiences, and insights you would bring to the board to make us better. And is there anything else that you would like to share with us about yourself in your closing comments?
I think my strengths, as I mentioned, I do work for a school district in LA County. I work in the Business Services Division. I, on a daily basis, have to refer to public contract code, public education code, government code, and so I don't, although I don't know them by heart, I know where to find them, and I know what needs, the basics of what needs to be done. I know the inner workings of a school district, having been doing this position for over 9 years. Prior to that, I worked in pharmaceuticals, and I worked directly with the CDC and the FDA. So I have a lot of experience with regulations and working and balancing what you need to do, the gray areas that you have to abide by, black and white, essentially, and get everybody on board to what needs to happen, but also try and satisfy those that have some questions or issues with them and get the issues resolved. I'm a team player. I try to make sure that everything that I do, everybody gets satisfied. You might not agree with each other, but at the end we shake hands and we're friends. And the job is for the children, get the education for the children, and that's the ultimate goal. I'm just a parent that wants to give back to the community. I haven't done that. I've worked in volunteer work with baseball and with those kind of communities, but I feel I could do a better job, and I feel calling to work with people, and so that's where I'm at right now. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's the end of our interview with you. You can go back into our room. I think we're at a stage where our fifth application, our applicant was running late and is not here, and probably won't be here for another 10 minutes. Is that correct, Anna? Later than we had originally thought. So we could, I don't think I've ever had this happen before. We could take a little break and wait for her, or we can move on and say your time slot was here and it's gone, and unfortunately we, can't wait.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Board President, you have the option to either take a pause and wait if you'd like, or you can move forward with the process.
So we could, as a board, decide how we want to do this. I really feel like this is something that was not a surprise, and so here by now.
President, you may want to take the moment, though, to finish your notes from the last
Okay. Oh, yeah.
the last interview,
They could.
and then at the conclusion of that time, make your determination.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's do that. And while we're doing that, could you guys make sure that she didn't sneak in a different door and is not somewhere where we don't know where she is? She could be somewhere. Okay. Thank you.
I'm done with this. I would like a fire break if we could before moving on.
So we could actually take a personal necessity break. Hannah has been in contact with the applicant, and they won't be here till 6:20. Said they would understand if we moved on, but I don't know. I mean, we could take a personal necessity break, and guess I'm looking for consensus with my board right here. Just take a break, and then we'll come back and decide. Okay, so let's do a 5-minute. Oh, did you had me off? Just in case. Just in case, yeah, yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll come back. So now we're at a stage where we don't have any other interviews. We do have one more candidate that we could still consider. So we have an application for another person, Susanna Garcia. We can still consider her without an interview. I mean, there's nothing saying we have to interview. We've got her application. We know how she answered the questions that we asked. So she could still be part of your deliberations if in fact you are considering that person. I would say we could go ahead and then bring back our candidates. Does that sound like it works for the rest of my board? Or
At this point, she says she'll be 5 minutes from now.
she's stuck in traffic?
Mm. Do we have any other additional information? No.
I mean, you could consider her, I mean, we could still consider her without an interview. We have her application.
Yeah, I would support moving on. Every other candidate showed up here at 5.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's disappointing. But
It is disappointing, huh?
So we are going to do our rating based on her application only.
So then we will give ourselves some time, because now is time where we'll figure out who your first, second, third, fourth, fifth rankings are.
So we're, just to be clear, we're saying even if she shows up in the next 5 minutes, we're not going to interview her?
I personally, my opinion is that we started at 5, and to be fair to the other applicants, they were here at 5. And I do know that life happens and that people can't be here when, when they have an obligation. But that's kind of what this board is as well. It's a lot of obligation here, and it's a lot of times we're going to have to make that decision on, do you do this or do you do that? And unfortunately, I just feel it's not fair to the rest of the people that were here. That would be my opinion, but I'm only one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now we'll take our time to gather our notes. And then when we're ready to start our deliberation and conversation, then we will invite our candidates back in, and then it gets awkward, FYI. And we'll have to go through this process. Right? So again, just so the public knows that as a public body, our meetings are held in the public for the public to view. And we cannot have meetings outside of the public. And so we're not able to have these discussions, in a closed room. Whereas with our, when we do hire a superintendent, it would be something that we'll do differently, right? Because it's a different process. So this process does have to be in the open. So I'll give my board a couple of minutes. You guys give me a thumbs up when you guys are ready. 1, 2. Ruthie, you tell me when you're ready. Vanessa, you ready? When we're ready? Ready? Okay. We're ready for you to bring in our candidates.
We still have to talk.
I'm just sitting back watching. Okay. All right. First I want to take a moment to thank everyone who applied for the trustee position. It means a lot when people step up and show a willingness to serve our students and our schools. Public education is so important. It's truly the great equalizer that gives every child the opportunity to grow, learn, and reach their potentials. We appreciate each of you that took the time to apply, share your perspectives, and show your commitment to our students and our community. Your engagement reminds us of how many people care deeply about the future of our schools. And that's something to really be proud of. We hope, understanding that only one can be chosen this evening, that you stay involved, that you stay diligent in serving our community, serving our students. There's so many ways to be involved in our school district, through partnerships, through collaboration. We've seen many of you here already, and have had long-term existing relationships with our district. So just want to put that plug in there to let you know that we truly, truly appreciate everything. This is a hard process. It takes a lot of bravery to come up here and to do this. So again, we truly appreciate it. So now we're going to move on to the item at hand, where we will choose our trustee. And so I'm thinking I would personally like to move that we appoint Joseph Simano to fill the role of trustee for District 1 for the remainder of the term, which is now through November 2026.
So I think I would offer a substitute motion in that I would be honored to serve with Mr. Samau. I think he and I share the same diagnosis of the biggest challenge that faces the district, which is declining enrollment. I would like to offer a substitute motion of another strong candidate, though, Mr. Alvarez, because of the comprehensive answers he gave in the challenges that faces our district, in particular, one of the more acute ones, which is to replace the inimitable Dr. Bob Pleka. I appreciated the answers that he gave, and he is of the community, and it would be poetic for a homegrown child to lead that district. So my substitute motion would be for Mr. Alvarez.
Okay, all right. So there's not a second for the first. There's a substitute motion. Is there a second for the substitute motion?
I don't have a motion to change that motion, but I agree with Trustee Cho.
We should set, if you're going to second it, we could talk about it, or do we have to, or are you just going to talk about, I guess we need to figure out how we're going to do this.
So yeah, we wouldn't require a substitute motion yet because we don't have a valid motion.
Oh, right.
Without a second. So right now you really are just determining, is there a motion? So the first motion was made, and I would assume that it has failed for lack of a second. A second motion was made, and without a second, it will also fail until there is a motion that receives a second.
So the motion, if I do a second, that means my motion would be
You would second the motion.
Then you can start talking about
for
it.
Miguel Alvarez.
Correct.
Okay. I second that motion.
Okay, all right, so it's been moved and seconded, so now we can have discussion. So now we can discuss the motion at hand. Would you like to, you already spoke on your motion a little bit. Would you like to add to the motion?
Well, I do have to say that I agree with what Trustee Cho mentioned. both Joseph and Miguel had amazing interviews. I have them both on the top of my square chart. On the top of my square chart. I love that one is homegrown and he knows the district, he knows the area, and he was just so eloquent with his interview, as well as Mr. Joseph. And so I think we're gonna be here for a long time, because I really do appreciate and I liked those two interviews to fill the vacancy.
I will speak just to the motion that I had and just talk about, I think I went back and forth with this, and it's a very hard decision. I think everybody knows that. We had two rules of thought. You could have a parent who is in our school system right now, who actively is involved, who is that representative that people feel like they can come to, that when they're there at an event, someone comes there. It's someone who knows our schools and what we're doing in our elementary schools right now. Not to say that the experience in our college system and in understanding them, bridging the gaps and understanding what we need for students now is not is a strength for Miguel. But I do think that active involvement and commitment in our school system, in our schools right now, is key. It's in having conversations. I could go both ways. I could look at a community member, but I really felt like at this point, the trusted voice for families and for people that are there. When he talked about the big things in declining enrollment and the trust factor in public school system right now is huge. I mean, people don't trust our public schools, and to get people to trust, you have to have relationships, current relationships, people that are there right now. And so I feel that Joseph has that. It's that school to community connection. So I felt that was very important for me. Giving that opportunity to someone who lives and breathes it, and having it not be something that you had thought about before, right? It's not an office that you have, even thought you would do. You never thought you would serve, never ran for anything. So you came out of this, with just from organically, right? And so I truly value that, and I value the reason why you said putting students over politics. That was huge for me, right? It's making sure that you're looking out for our students, and that everything is small, but it makes a big difference. So I truly appreciated that, and that's why I felt like at this stage, looking forward, you would be a very strong candidate, a strong person to serve on our board.
I might be then the deciding voice, it sounds like. I will say, first of all, thank you to everyone that applied. I really appreciate it. And I know we all spent a lot of time looking at all of the applications and as well as thinking about these interviews. Yes, I was impressed, Joey, with your responses. I think you diagnosed our district well, and both the concerns that we're facing as a district as well as families are experiencing, and I love seeing you be a champion for your kids, for your school, and for the district, and I really appreciate that. And your ideas of the qualities you would look for in a superintendent, I also think, please be on our search for our process of like how we make those decisions, because I think you have a lot of really important things to contribute. The reason I came prepared to this meeting and then being here confirmed for me that I have been supporting, well, it sounds like I'm campaigning. I came in believing and wanting to see if my support for Miguel Alvarez would ring true. And I think primarily the reason why I see him as my first choice is I feel like he's the most equipped to start day one, because I think we're asking someone to step into a position this month, tomorrow, and really function as a trustee. And most of us campaigned and had 6 months, a year to do that, to learn the processes, to learn how school districts operate, how budgets happen, and where the money comes from, and all those things. And I see Miguel as having those strengths of having the experiences. And this is a 1-year service. I think after that point, should the person wish to stay, they have obviously an opportunity to do that, but it really is then up to the community. And so I was really looking for someone who not only aligned with our values of what we hold dear to our district, where we want to see ourselves moving in the next year, but really is prepared to start that conversation tomorrow. And so that's what I see the most in his application and in the conversation today. I think that deep technical understanding of education systems, how they work, how to be effective in those. And then really a voice that understands the challenges, especially of Trustee Area 1. And to me, was able to communicate both the challenges and experiences he had in growing up or living in that community now, and the way that he would be a voice, especially in his application. He talked about being a voice for multilingual learners, for working class parents, for a community that needs a strong representation. And so that's what stood out, and that's why he's my first choice.
If I'm gauging this, we had a motion. My motion wasn't seconded. There was a second for Miguel. It was a motion that was seconded. This is the discussion. So I think now we've all had a chance to make our points. Do we have additional conversation about the candidate, the motion? Because then we'll vote on this. Well, we didn't have a first motion because it wasn't seconded. So it's just the primary motion, right? Unless somebody has a second motion, or someone could still make another motion at this stage. Right, okay.
You could there could be a substitute motion, or you could call for the question.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would see if there's a substitute motion, just because I don't want to shut anybody down. Any substitute motions? Okay, then seeing none, I'm going to call for the question. So there has been a motion and a second that we appoint Miguel Alvarez, I'm sorry, as the appointment for the rest of the term be vacated by Trustee Takura. And so it's been motion, seconded. We've had discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? I'm going to oppose. So it's carried. It's majority rules. So 3-1. So we now have our new trustee. Let's give him a hand. And now, you thought you were going to get away. Glad you brought people. Because the next thing is we will be doing the oath, correct? Let me find my script. Bear with me, people. It's a big difference having so many pieces of paper. Here I am. Okay. Okay. Motion. All right. And would my board not like to say anything to the candidates that are in the room right now?
I would. I was thinking about that as I prepared for today. And I know this was hard for us, so I can imagine it was also hard for you. But hopefully a productive hard work, right? To think about these questions and to think about your care and love for our students and our teachers and staff. Many of you brought up, the importance of working all together. And I just want to encourage that as you go forward, that this is not the end of your journey. We need you. And I think especially as many of you brought up the fact that right now there is sometimes a discrediting of public education. It can be under attack. Financing for public education is dropping, and many of our families are hurting in this moment. And so we need community support. We need parents and people who are not parents who care about our kids and are investing in our communities, working to support the impact that it has to make our whole society better. So even if it's not on the board right now, it may be in the future, but please stay invested, please stay connected, and continue to work with us as partners.
Yes. So, Mr. Gooden, thank you for your time. I appreciated what you said about having to sometimes deal with decisions that are mandated from other jurisdictions that we fall under. It's a challenge that we wrestle with seemingly on a monthly basis. I appreciate your willingness to step up and looking inward and going, hey, you know what? I want to be more involved and this could be a shot to do it. So thank you. Mr. Phillips, you, I think, identified also some of the challenges in the district about some of the inequality and some of the issues that some of our communities face, and particularly our immigrant communities. And when you said that the community was a solution, that really struck a chord in me. I believe that it is through the community that we're all going to get this together, and I appreciate it, and I thank you for your time. Mr. Samel was not lying when I said that I'd be honored to serve with you. I think you and I share the same diagnosis and the same root cause, which is diminishing trust in the community. You're involved with a very special program at Orangethorpe, and I hope that you continue to do so. And I appreciate your time and your willingness to step up today. And Mr. Alvarez, congratulations, and it'll be an honor to serve with you, and I'm looking forward to working together. Thank you.
First and foremost, I want to thank every single one of you for filling out the application, for being brave enough to come up here, because this is a service job. And so every single application I went in, I took notes, and again, I'm going to do the same thing Trustee Cho did, and go and say that Mr. Gwyn, sometimes the U is silent, so I'm not sure, I wasn't sure. I loved that your work for a school district. And so your experience is very important and, to our district. And I really, really appreciated the fact that, just as Trustee Cho said, how our district communicates information is very important. And that's something that our district really has to look into, because sometimes, like you said, rules are rules. And there's nothing that we as a district can do about it but follow the law. And so going forward, I think it's important that we in the cabinet take that into consideration as to how we disseminate that information that is given to us, so that parents are more at ease, that it's not necessarily just our decision or something that we take lightly. It's something that, California law states, and we just have to regulate. So thank you so much for that information. Mr. Joey. This is not the right one, this one. I too agree that putting students first over politics is very important. And I love that you said leading with empathy for our students is very important. And as you went and you watched our school board meetings, and you know that that's very near and dear to my heart as well. Empathy is very important. Rules are rules, yes, but sometimes we have to look for, what's going to make our students thrive. And I have a gazillion notes on your paper because I really loved your message. A lot of our values really do align. So I want to thank you. Thank you for applying. And, like Trustee Cho said, you never thought you would be doing this. I never thought I would be doing this either. And so, it takes community leaders and parents to step up and be the leaders in our community, because you know your school, you know your district, and it's important that you please continue with the path of wanting to help our district and being involved and being the great parent that you are. Thank you. Mr. Phillips, you are such a great community leader, and you're just everywhere that I see you leading. Especially with what you do in your community, with all the organizations that you represent, not just are a part of, but you represent. I'm gonna take your being a good listener and discernment, because it was mentioned a lot of times in your interview, and I love that, because I feel like sometimes we forget to listen. And, as school board trustees, it is our job to be the ear and voice of our community and our constituents in our district as a whole. So it is very important that we listen. And so I thank you very much for your time, for being here, for bringing us that knowledge and information, and for us to pay attention that we must listen, because that is why we are here, to represent not just our district in general, as in like the entire Fullerton School District, but also our community and the families that live in it. So thank you very much. Mr. Miguel, felicidades. Felicidades, felicidades. I really do know that all the knowledge you have and experience, lived knowledge from your district, for living and growing up and being a part of the Fullerton School District, and your lived experiences and your current job and everything that you do, especially with our English language learners that you are very passionate about, which we should be if you're in District 1 and the entire school district as a whole. It's very important, and so I congratulate you and I welcome you to our board. Next meeting, you'll be sitting up here on the dais with us, and so I'm excited and happy to have you on board. Felicidades.
Good. All right. Thank you. Okay, and so at this time, we are going to administer our oath of office. So you're actually taking your oath right now. So, right? Am I doing this right? Okay, so we're gonna come on up. We're just gonna do it this way, and then maybe at our November meeting.
Yeah, just to jump in. So this one is the official one.
Official.
But the ceremonial one coming up in November. And so if you have family and friends that want to come.
All right.
So.
This one you just have, no. So what I'll do is I will, do I say it and then he repeats after me, or do I just let him read this?
You can just repeat them.
You can repeat. Okay. All right. You ready? Here, you take this.
On.
So
All
you're
right.
good. All right. So I'll say a couple of sentences and then you can repeat.
Okay.
So we're taking the oath of office for public officers. Do I need a mic? Yeah. Because we're live streamed,
Yep.
we have to make sure we're doing this. Okay. So, Miguel Alvarez, right?
Yes.
I, Miguel Alvarez, do solemnly swear that I support
I, Miguel Alvarez, do solemnly swear that I support
and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of,
and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear truth, faith, and
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and
allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of
evasion, and that I don't have my glasses on, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, you're now part of us, so thank you.
Congratulations. Congrats.
Right, so as we said, that was formality, then that way you can hit the ground running. So be ready tomorrow. No, tonight. Wait a minute, hold on. They've got some time.
Just,
Are we on diligent?
so just a quick couple updates. So we'll reach out to you and some fun stuff, business cards and potentially a laptop or whatever technology you need. We'll also reach out in terms of preparation for the next meeting. And then in November, you'll be at the dais. We do want to take a moment to recognize you and with your family and any community members. So we'll have the ceremonial cupcakes and cakes. So and we'll take time for a moment to do pictures then. And again, the some ceremonial swearing. If you would like somebody from your family to swear you in at that moment, that can be something very special if you want to do that. And then in addition, December, we'll work on this photos. So right now, tentatively, we'll plan. And so for
Yeah.
do photos with the board.
Photo.
So that'll be in December.
We'll tell you what to wear. Okay. All right. So our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, November the 18th, 2025. And I believe that's it. So we'll adjourn at 6:44. Suzanne Garcia.